Hello, friends, and welcome again to another single-serving tabletop adventure from Queen's Court Games. I am Aaron, your storyteller, and today I am joined by, first, QCG's Empress of Art. It is V.
Hi.
Our Director of Goblin Affairs, that would be Zoe.
Hello.
Also, two of our best friends from across the internet joining us from Bards and Broods. We have Krissy.
Oh, hey.
And the Nat 20 Productions Chief Executive for Storytelling Arts, this is PJ.
Hey, great to see everyone.
As always, you can find their assorted social media links by putting !cast in chat on Twitch or in the show notes if you're catching up later on YouTube or in podcast form. On this week's episode, we'll be playing His Last Hope, a tale of lost friendships and broken childhoods written by Magnus Sater. Now, we are telling this story in sequence. If you are just joining us, you're really going to want to go back to YouTube or Twitch or podcast and find out what happened before. Don't worry, we'll be here. We'll wait. Excellent. Glad you made it back. The good folks at Helmgast have been kind enough to sponsor this game, so the good folks in the audience should be kind enough to check it out, both this scenario, the entire Kult line of books at helmgast.se. You can get that link with !sponsor in chat, or again, on YouTube show notes / podcast show notes. Before we get entirely started, Kult Divinity Lost is an adult horror game, and tonight's episode contains many themes that certain people may find uncomfortable or objectionable. Our cast has completed pre-game safety check-ins, and we have an extensive suite of in-game safety tools at our disposal. You should use your own discretion when you listen, and if you want more information about that, you can use !safety in chat to learn more. Normally, this is the part where I say, with that said, let me tell you a story. But for now, I would actually like our delightful cast members to recap their take on what happened in the last episode. I'm seeing all the faces. No one is prepared. Should I roll a dice to see who gets that job? There are 4 of you. That means I have to get out the Satan die.
Oh.
I'm going to organize it left to right. And Krissy.
No! Suck it, nerd!
Suck it, nerd.
Wait, okay, so, the entire session, including the flashback, right?
No, just whatever you think is important. What did you take away from it?
Oh, well,
what is burning bright in that brain of yours?
You got a really good look as to why Harlow now has a alcohol and various substance abuse problem. She got reunited with some old friends, all of them being in quotation marks at this point. Friends. And got approached by a rather grody looking man that was not the person that they expected.
I prefer the term storyteller, actually.
It's a little bit of both. Shown a photo that shouldn't have been upsetting, but in its own way was, because it brought back some very unpleasant memories of the last time that she saw her best friend. And yeah, then they came back and now they gotta figure out where their friend is and what he wants from them.
Zoe, I feel like Krissy might have slept on some important details there. Do you have anything to add?
Oh, sure. I was actually, when you first asked this question, I was going to come in at it from Michael's perspective, but
Oh no, by all means.
Oh no, she did such a good job at most of the stuff, so I'm going to skip that.
Michael isn't a follower. Michael leads.
He's an alpha.
All I know is that one of these chuckle fucks, these old friends of mine, are pulling some sort of prank to get us to deal with some sort of repressed shit that I don't want to deal with. But if they want to play this game, what's the phrase? Fuck around and find out. That's where we're at.
in the find out phase.
Yeah, I think the fucking around happened 20 some years ago.
Yeah, what happened? Because I know, but for some reason, y'all don't want to talk about it.
Gee, I wonder why.
Well, I don't like to leave things unsaid, so I can step forward and make a fill in the gap, if you will. So as we met in this diner, coffee shop place, this really sus-looking guy threw down this photo, and we all had this, I guess, kind of shared experience, a shared memory when we were young, when we were D&D players, young kids, and we had these bullies that would constantly pick on us, and then. We have a friend named Thomas, and we haven't really seen each other much since our childhood. We were supposed to play D&D at a lake, and Thomas wasn't there, and we waited, but then time continued, and they never showed up. That was not like them, and so we went to look for them. Mind you, we were still like 11, 12, 13-year-old kids at the time. And we go back to Thomas's house because we know Thomas kind of had a bad family relationship, bad family dynamic, and we were worried about his safety from some things that he said. And yeah, sure enough, there was cops there, and we had to sneak around to break into the house to see if our friend was okay. And, it was a real horror show there.
What happened then? Well, actually, I don't want to put you on too much of a spot for it.
I don't mind sharing. But from what my doctor tells me, it's good for others to share too. You don't want to rob someone else the opportunity to get it off their chest.
Gabby, do you ever talk about what happened in that house?
No. I tried really hard to shield my friends from the horrors inside that house that day, and now I try and shield myself from the horrors of that house. I still don't know what happened. I don't want to think that Thomas was capable of everything that we saw. I don't want to think that he was capable of turning his foster father into a macabre Vitruvian man, or stretching skin across the wall and leaving puddles of blood everywhere. But it also seems a little strange to me that if it wasn't Thomas, it was somebody who did this to everybody but him.
To be fair, I don't think the kid had it in him either.
You're just looking over the facts and details. Thomas being a 12-year-old boy, I put a lot of research into this. Thomas being a 12-year-old boy, probably weighing somewhere between 60 and 90 pounds for a boy of his height and age group. There's no way he could be capable of lifting a full-grown 240-pound man and possessing the strength to pin him to the wall like that. I mean, there's studies that talk about panic reactions and adrenaline factors, but it doesn't add up.
And like,
I mean,
sure.
the body wasn't exactly in one piece, though.
Maybe, but I mean, what you said and what we saw with other human forms rolled out like a literal carpet. I don't think there's any human being with the potential to actually do that to a body physically, unless they had all the time in the world and power tools.
And how'd he do it? Or how did it get done if no human being could do it?
Well, I appreciate this conversation, but why don't we say this is happening en route to the crow's nest? Because last I checked, you all did agree that going there was the right thing to do, and that no one was going to back out. And I'm sure these details that you would want to suss out. The angels, as you call yourself, haven't really spoken much. since it happened. And it's not like you've talked to anyone else about this. Some of you may be a therapist, but Gabrielle is already on record saying, nope, this lives down in the feeling squishy place where we don't let people go. And Michael's brand of masculinity doesn't allow for emotions or introspection. So this is probably the first time you've been around someone who you can't help but talk about it with.
Looking for help is a sign of weakness. If they need to deal with their stuff, that's on them. I'll talk about it with them.
My parents made me see a therapist for a while. I didn't really want to stick with it whenever it became a choice. There are other things that I can turn to make myself feel better.
Well, let me ask this question. I think, Michael, you were the only one who drove, right?
Yeah, I got this big truck. She's my pride and joy. Just got a couple of mud flaps on the back that say beat you on either side over the wheels. You know, my personal touch. It could fit everyone in it. A little tight in the back, but I'm not too worried about it.
And Harlow, you're not allowed to drive after the thing, so...
Things. It's fine. I usually get around on my own 2 feet, or, you know, subways exist.
Well, if everyone is okay with that arrangement, then we'll say you have piled into the back of Michael's compensation mobile. The road leading to the crow's nest, and this drive will take about 45 minutes, so you've got plenty of time to have the conversations you were having, but the road leading to the crow's nest is a narrow, unpaved affair that cuts through a dense and dark forest. Back when you used to explore this place as children, it was critical that you make it back before nighttime. Not because your parents told you to, of course that was the right thing to do, but you'd have to be out of your fucking mind to be 11 years old and wandering back through this forest in the dark. That is the stuff Stephen King books are made of, and none of you were that stupid. Even like before what happened in the house. It was raining when you arrived at the coffee shop, and it is still raining now, but in addition, there is a thick carpet of fog that has spread across the road, and it seems the further you drive north up into the hills, up into the forest, towards the crow nest, the deeper this fog gets, and it starts to raise up off the ground until the headlights are cutting just across the top of it. And if you tilt your head just right, you might not even be able to see the ground. Like you're not driving down a road, but you're just gliding through a foggy somewhere else. So let that be the context as these conversations happen. As you finally, after 20 years, get to express the things that have been lurking inside of you this entire time. I can perhaps start the prompt there by saying, Michael, the conditions are pretty bad. Are you letting that affect your driving habits?
No, I'm a very focused driver. Every little thing pisses me off, though. The rain going down on my windshield, the fact that the fog keeps getting denser, just the conditions suck. The conversation going on around me, I am just kind of terse the whole time. I'll get snappy at little quips here and there. Originally, I had assumed that Thomas had sent this, but having the rush of memories from childhood, Thomas hasn't been seen in a long time. Maybe it is him fucking with us, but I just kind of look into the rearview mirror at the others sitting back there and I go, so, any of you want to come clean? Who did this?
Why do you think it's any of us?
Because Thomas has been missing. He's the one I would have pegged for this, but...
And how do we know it's not you? You're the one with the car.
seem like something I would do.
I mean, I don't know. You're the one with the car. You're the one who's like, oh no, come on, I'll drive us.
Honestly, I just want to settle some things. But I can promise you, it was not me that sent that letter.
It wasn't me
Probably.
either.
Settle them with who?
The whole experience. Settle what happened when we were kids. The reason we're together now. I want to see some sort of resolution for these people and a little bit for myself.
Ralph, you've been quiet.
Have much to say on the matter. I know I didn't send the letters to people. It's not my style. It would be digital. Plus, why would I want to leave my safe haven? I work from home. I sleep at home. I can order food from home. I don't want to leave my home. That's where I'm safe. That's where the world doesn't judge me. It's where no one can hurt me. Even on the internet, those words are painful and I can get into a fight. But I know that I can walk away and be fine-ish. I don't want to be out of my home. I don't want to be out of my safe box, but I'm here. So I don't have anything to say, really.
Harlow, you were saying something?
The last thing I wanted was to be reminded of what happened. So, I wouldn't have done this.
So, if it's none of us,
The only person that would know would be Thomas. Of course, he'd be still alive after all this time. Puts us through hell.
so after everything that happened, he got out, got away, didn't contact any of us for all this time, and then gets us all together and then accuses us of not being there for him? Did any of you hear from him at all since then?
No.
No, but I didn't know how to reach him. He
Well,
doesn't.
no, because he was gone. He left.
Maybe there's something he was going through that he expected us to be there for. I mean, we did make a lot of promises as kids that we would be there for each other. I mean, granted, it's not our fault, but perspective can be kind of blind sometimes, you know, like it's rough.
People let you down. That's what people do.
People are selfish. People only care about themselves. They don't care who they hurt in the process. It's a part of human psychology.
You don't believe that.
Of course I do.
No, you don't.
Look at everyone, everywhere, all the time. You can't even go on a single conversation on social media without someone putting their own needs before anyone else's feelings. You can't even go into a goddamn grocery store without seeing people devolve into human tyrants. You can't even enjoy a single movie before it turns into an us versus them argument. I can't even tell you about how flat the earth is or how this horse tranquilizer can cure diseases because someone else has a hot take and they don't exist until the world knows it. We are selfish and cruel by design. And it's only because we have an axe to grind that we silence that instinct.
What happened to you, Ralph?
What happened to all of us?
No, not all of us. Not all of us.
All of
What
us.
happened to you?
The
You are
same thing
not
that
the same
happened to
person
all
that
of
you
us.
were 20 years ago.
Yeah, 2 decades. People change. That's the point.
Yeah, but hopefully for the better.
Hopefully for but what part of what we went through and what we live in could possibly make anyone come out better? That's not a crucible that improves you.
You don't have to let it eat you alive. I did everything that I could to not let that affect me. And I'm sorry that you're the way that you are and that you didn't come out the other side.
I know. I get it. I'm one of those guys. And I'm always going to be one of those guys, no matter how hard I try, no matter what I do.
I
It's
mean,
never gonna
no,
be good
you
enough.
don't have to be.
Suddenly, from in front of the vehicle, a dark shape darts into the headlights. You hear a piercing sound, a desperate, anguished cry as a shadow throws itself against the windshield. The fog is ripped to shreds, and for just a moment, you see the rolling figure, face smashed against the windshield, clothes ripped to shreds, face deformed as it presses against the glass, the eyes wide open, and its face crisscrossed by what you can only comprehend as open wounds. It flips up over the hood, over the car, down, bouncing out of the bed of the truck into the road behind. And the car is there, but still, the car is there, still quiet, no noise, but the windshield wipers flipping back and forth, streaking blood and pus across the windshield. I need everyone to roll to keep it together.
12?
18?
12.
4.
Well, so those of you who succeeded with complications, that would be Gabby and Ralph, you will lose 1 stability. Maybe it was just that you were in the back of the seat and couldn't see what happened. Didn't get the good view that Michael and Harlow did. The reactions actually say quite a bit about what happened. Harlow, you'll lose 2 stability. Michael, you will lose 0, but for the same reason. Because in that moment, while your 2 friends were arguing in the back seat, looking at one another, the 2 of you were eyes forward. So when that face smashed up against the glass, you recognized it. That, without a doubt, even though it is impossible and it makes no sense whatsoever, that was Thomas's foster father. That face, you've seen from the news stories, it was on TV. You'd seen Thomas for years. You knew that was the old man who would yell at Thomas from the porch when he came back just 2 minutes late. That face is seared into its own little special corner of your brain.
Since I saw his head on the mantle, burned in my memory.
What the fuck?
So
Michael?
yeah, I just hit something. Stay. I'm gonna go check it out. Harlow, stay with me. Relax. And I'll step out of the truck. See if there's anything there. Like, I've obviously hit someone. There's blood on the windshield.
Blood on the windshield, blood on the on the dashboard. That's inside the truck. That would be very, very mystical. There's blood on the windshield. There's blood on the hood. There's blood on... there's too much, honestly. The others, they're panicking. They're not going to see it. And this is more of a Ralph moment that you're having. But, like, you can conceive in your head. Actually, you, more than most people, can conceive in your head of how much blood is inside a human being. And the amount that is splattered over your truck is Hitchcockian in places. Are you gonna go back there and look?
Yeah, but I'm gonna, before I go back there, I slam my fist on the back door and I go, Ralph, come out, help.
Okay, I'm coming to help, I guess.
You exit the vehicle, both of you now pelted with just sheets of rain, the kind that hammers, and you get a sense of the mass of the water as each individual drop slams down into you, just countless over and over and over again, nowhere to escape. And you wander out behind your vehicle. The fog is still there. It's actually dark as hell out here as well, so the lights in front, that gives you a view. Back here, it's difficult to see anything. But even in the red glow of the taillights or the white glow of the parking lights, it's not entirely clear to me how automobiles work conceptually. You would expect to see a shadow, right? Or at least an outline of something there in the dirt. There's nothing.
We hit something, right?
I heard the noise. Michael, check the front of your vehicle. See if there's still any damage from the impact.
Yeah. I don't want to scare you or anything, but I think I'm not doing well. It's hard for me to admit, but I saw someone, and what we hit was someone who should be dead.
Well, I don't mean to be rude, but other than the lack of evidence of a body, I would think at the rate we were going, they'd be dead on impact.
Weird night. Yeah, let's go check out the front. And I'll wander off. Go ahead.
Well, as the two gentlemen wander around to the front of the car, inside, ladies, you can hear the weather hammering this vehicle. It's like Jurassic Park storm scene in here, those sheets of rain. Like the kind where you're driving and everyone slows down to 15 miles an hour and everyone turns their radios off because for some reason that just helps you concentrate more, and there's nothing but headlights and blinkers in front of you. And despite all that noise, and despite the fact that you're inside this $45,000 truck designed by the engineers to isolate you from the outside world, on that whipping wind, on that thundering rain, you can hear the tiniest little sounds. And it varies moment to moment, and you both don't hear the same thing, certainly not at the same time. But as you look around through the windshield, that slow tension is starting to build because you don't know what's going on, and the boys are outside. If they hit that man and that was missed there, they're in danger, right? And you can be as rational as you want, but there's still that basic level terror, the reason that we get nervous at horror movies, rising up inside of you. So the small childlike giggle that carries across the nothingness into your ear, or the small whine of an injured dog that perks up in the back of your consciousness. Is it real? But it's unsettling.
Harlow.
Did you see who that was?
No, I was I was too busy yelling at Ralph like a fucking idiot. But I heard it. I'm guessing you got a better look.
I don't know. I don't know if I did. God, there's so much blood.
I mean, with the rain as long as it's been, it should have at least most of it washed away, right? But it's sticky, it's Icarus, it's like it's tangible. You can feel the gloopiness of it, even as it smears just back and forth and back and forth.
I just reached forward and just put my hand on Harlow's shoulder and give it a nice firm squeeze, just hoping to calm her a little bit or kind of give her something to kind of ground her right now, because it's pretty clear she's not doing great.
That was... I don't see how this is possible. That was Thomas' stepfather or foster father.
What?
That was a dead man. I mean, even before this, obviously dead now. What if
No, Harlow. It couldn't be his foster dad. We saw his foster dad that night back at his house. We know what there's no way. It's been 20 some odd years.
Are you calling me crazy?
I'm not calling you crazy, Harlow. I think what's probably happening is we're all a little on edge right now, just thinking about that night. We haven't thought about it I haven't thought about it in a really long time. I don't imagine any of us have thought about it in a really long time, and maybe it's just putting thoughts in our heads or making us see things that aren't exactly what they are, because that night it was a lot. And I'm not calling you crazy, Harlow. I'm not. I just logically it couldn't be him, right? Logically. Think about it for just a second.
Well, things that are logical and make sense. On the topic of believability, there are more issues that you're going to have in front of the vehicle. Michael, I'm guessing you're looking for evidence of the body still, yes?
And damage to the truck.
Well, that would make sense if Michael was more concerned with his vehicle and Ralph was more interested in the truth of what had happened. Does that make sense according to your read of the situation? It's a little unfortunate for Ralph, then. Because you can't see it standing up. You do have to squat down if you want to investigate the actual scene of the quote-unquote crime. Well, I mean, vehicular assault is a crime in most states. And you find the evidence of the tracks, the footprints that lead up to the car, and the handprints that lead up to the car, suggesting not someone who had been walking or running, but something scampering on its hands and its feet with its back arched up like an animal, not crawling hands and knees. But if you picture someone who is crawling forward just on the front of their feet and on their fingertips, skittering less than running. And having witnessed those tracks, while Michael busies himself thinking about how much it's going to cost to get that custom chrome grille replaced and how much these halogen headlights, because there's no way Michael doesn't have the headlights that blind you because that asshole truck is behind you sitting 4 feet off the ground. And you will follow those tracks around to the back of the vehicle where they continue. And you can follow them as long as your bravery holds out as they streak out into the woods.
Well, Michael, you can take some solace in knowing that whoever you hit, or whatever you hit, seems to be okay.
Trust me, Ralph, that if my eyes aren't playing tricks on me, that dude's been dead a long time. It was Thomas's foster father.
That's impossible in every way.
You're telling me my eyes must be playing tricks. I don't know. My freaking truck's all banged up, though. We hit something.
I mean that. No, look. What we cannot agree that it was Thomas or not. But one thing's for sure: we know that guy was home plated. He was potatoed. He was pinated. He was bodied. He was dead. He was gone. There's no way.
Yeah.
I mean, I hacked into the police article base on this. Like they declared time of death at 5:52 p.m. specifically. They had an investigation, even given a couple extra hours because they were so intensely horrified by the entire incident. It was on that day. He's dead. It's been declared by the government. He's not. That's impossible.
I'm telling you, Ralph, that's what I saw.
No, that doesn't make any sense. Mike, I'm going back in the truck right now. I can't be outside right now, man.
Yeah. Deal with this damage when we get to a body shop.
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention. Is the car okay? Is your truck okay?
I think I saw Harlow's face. I think she may have seen something.
Okay. I'll go back in with the ladies. I'll see you later.
I'll be
I
right
guess.
in.
Yeah. And with that, I dissociatively amble back to or trudge back to the truck.
Michael, is the interior cloth or leather?
Leather.
So you get that nice, satisfying squeak of wet fabric on leather as you hop up, and you do have to hop up and slide back across the seat. Michael, the car is fine to drive. It's going to be expensive body work, but that's fine. But the windshield is not cleaning itself. The wipers are doing nothing. If you want to go forward, you're going to have to get it off somehow.
All right. I assume I have like rags in my truck.
That sounds like a Michael thing.
Bunch of just like straps to hold stuff down, that sort of thing. I'll grab a couple of rags and start trying to get this gunk off my windshield.
Which means Harlow has a front row seat to Michael collecting this stuff in big goopy pools. Have you ever managed to let Jello not go bad, but sit long enough that it starts to get liquidy, or whatever's at the bottom of the barrel of Jello? That's a lot of Jello. But there's the bottom of the bowl when you're done, and it has that texture. That's what I'm talking about. It's a slime that Michael collects with the rag, and then schlocks down onto the ground, brings the rag back, and that's just flashing back and front and back and front. And every time that rag is pushed up, you can feel that fleshiness. You can see the face.
Harlow barfs. Harlow immediately opens the door and is retching right outside of the door.
Oh, god damn it.
You just hear as I'm cleaning this off, it's like, yeah, get it all out.
I just reach forward, covering my nose with one hand because I cannot risk smelling this or else I will start to vomit. And I just pat her gently on the back as she's vomiting.
It's not making it that far of the car, but your hair is still kept long, hanging down in front of you. It's really good to have a friend in that moment to just scoop that up and help you out. But eventually, both Harlow's insides and Michael's windshield will have been purged of what ails them. Michael, you can return to the vehicle.
Yeah, I'm tossing these rags in the back. Don't want to be smelling this the rest of the ride.
No, that's tummies are already a little in here. Has anyone changed their mind? Just doesn't think this is a good idea anymore. You've only been on the road 15, 20 minutes. Town is right back there.
I mean, if we don't follow through with this, who's to say it's not going to just continue? And whatever the heck we hit, it's still out there. That worries me more than the unknown, is the known issues.
You're definitely keeping that to yourself, though, right? You would have to be a special kind of monster to read this room and be like, yeah, these people probably want to know that that thing is still alive.
I think I'm currently in my own head with that information more than sharing. When I enter the car, I kind of scoop into my seat like a child in the fetal position.
But Michael, needs must. Someone has to have the testicular fortitude to get this caravan back on the road.
Yeah, I eventually find my way back into the driver's seat, and I just say, well, let's hope we don't hit any more deer. And I let that word kind of hang as if to protect the others, persuade them that it was not what we may have saw.
Anyone buying that?
I'm willing to. I didn't see the face, and you know what? A big deer that we hit, sure. And you know, I wouldn't say this out loud, but Harlow's been drinking, and the drinking plus the guilt. I'm not going to say she's crazy. I'm just going to say that a deer making a really distorted face that she mistook for the face of somebody whose memory has just been brought up makes total sense to me. So sure, I'll buy it.
I'm simultaneously glaring daggers at Michael while also questioning my own sanity at this point.
It's fine, he's questioning his own sanity too.
I think Ralph has too much evidence to suggest there's no way this is not a deer. But I think as dissociative as he is, he knows better than to fight that data. He's still processing the data he has figured out from Michael.
We're just gonna put that in the until I'm ready to handle it pile. We'll keep that information for later. That said, you will eventually arrive at the crow's nest. It's strange the way the weather lightens, the way the fog thins, the closer and closer you get to this place. In fact, it's a little strange you got there this quickly at all. You remember it being further away. Maybe it was just because you were kids. You were on foot. It's got to be it. So, springing up in a little clearing is a 2-story house, manorial in style. It's symmetrical, so you have a nice big, bold entranceway. It's not a plantation-style home. Totally wrong part of the country for that, but it has that same kind of vibe. It's a left wing and a right wing. It is not a mansion, though, so it's not that it's that big. It's just that they're emulating those architectural features. It's also doing a fantastic job of emulating being run down and decayed. No one has taken care of this home in a long, long time. Parked in front of it is a red mid-sized sedan, the kind of cheap car. It's one of those, you would see it in a rental company. This is not a rental, but it's one of those makes of vehicles that is just everywhere. And there's a small light coming from a room in the upper right-hand side of the home. There are chimneys on the house. Smoke curling out from the chimneys. But aside from that, there is no other sign of the house being occupied.
Do you think he's in there?
Someone's in there. Whose car is that?
I mean, if I have a Wi-Fi extension in about 20 minutes, I can tell you whose car that is, but I feel like we're just better off going inside the house.
Yeah, I think it
Whatever
would
question we have, it's going to be in there, right?
take a lot less time. That's for sure.
Gabrielle, sorry about, I guess a fight earlier. That's
I'm sorry. We're all a little on edge today. Old memories coming up, you know.
and Harlow, sorry you puked. Hope you're feeling better now.
How could I be?
Yeah.
So
All
you
right.
change. Oh, sorry.
It's okay, my bad.
Oh no, don't let me get in the way of y'all being moody. That's what this game is for.
I was just gonna say, I look over to Michael. All right, big tall barbarian. We enter the front yard of the Dungeon of Madness. You ready to roll initiative?
Ralph, I'm gonna stop you right there. No D&D crap.
Michael.
What? I'm 32 years old.
What?
Oh.
32-year-olds can't enjoy Dungeons and Dragons?
I got other shit to worry about. Now get out. See what this is all about.
I bet he plays Call of Action, the shooter game. What a loser.
Yeah, probably.
Listen. I played it a lot before I got into the military. Then I stopped.
When did you get into the military? Your active record doesn't show any time spent.
Listen. Stay was short. But I was in for a little bit. Little bit.
I don't remember what the terminology is, but I believe the record showed something like disorderly disconduct or
Ralph,
failure
you
to
want
listen to
you
an
want a
authority
fist in the
figure.
mouth. I will punch you right out.
Because that's what you do, isn't it, buddy? You punch your problems.
Yes. Now shut up.
Okay.
How about you take the lead?
Look,
Fine.
you know what? It worked 20 years ago. How about I take the lead? Okay?
Someone clearly hasn't learned their lesson.
Yeah, well, it's better than listening to these two yell and fight for the next 20 minutes.
In total fairness, full disclosure, that remains to be seen.
Wow.
But as the four of you hurriedly, despite the fight, because masculinity being what it is, being wet still sucks. And you can have this fight on the porch, right? But it's as Gabrielle reaches out to touch the handle, the same door handle that was there 20 years ago. You used to explore this place. You know it down to its house bones, its house skin. You know how its house heart beats. And as you touch that door handle, you feel the moment lift away and the weather change. Because we're not in the 2000s anymore. That's not what you're experiencing, feeling. It's 1999 again. And four barely teenage children are about to have an adventure in a secret abandoned home with their best friend. the angels are standing at the back of the crow's nest. And all 5 of you were there, and it's summer, sometime before the disappearance of your friend Thomas. You've hidden your bikes among the trees surrounding the house, and there's a giddy, mischievous eagerness about exploring this place. Now, every small town has a house like this, and it's filled with rumors about who used to live there or who might still live there, and God only knows. You're 13. Some of it's true, some of it's not. Who knows? Maybe it's haunted. Maybe the axe murderer lives there, or maybe it's just an abandoned house in the woods. Regardless, that is the kind of location that children's imagination and curiosity are meant for. And that is why they have led you out here. Sorry, those are the emotions that have led you out here, not to personify your emotions as they. That's a Pixar thing. You've already circled the place. The front of the house did turn to be locked, the door at least. And at this moment, you're standing in the rear next to an unlocked coal chute. For those of you who have not lived in this kind of place, homes of this era, there would be actually like a ramp or a chute in the back of the house, and you'd open it up, and then a truck would come out, deliver coal, dump it into the basement where you could shovel it into your furnace. This is where, after your initial exploration, Thomas has decided it is the easiest way into the home. What's your mood right now? There's a certain amount of D&D adventureness going on, but it's a creepy fucking house. Michael, I'm guessing you're gung-ho, you're ready to go, right?
Oh yeah, I'm trying to psych everyone up. I'm here to fight ghosts or werewolves or whatever is in this house. Ralph has my back. He's gonna look for the ghosts, and I got my slingshot. Pew, you know?
Wraiths, ghosts, vampires, mummies, werewolves, changelings, whatever?
Whatever. Anything goes. They'll all fall victim to my slingshot.
Mm-hmm. And the rest of you. Well, first of all, Ralph, you've been drafted. How do you feel about that?
Well, I'm not happy about it, but it's good to be useful. It's great to be needed. So I'm excited to help my friends.
I'm the brain, you're the brawn, right? Or wait, the other way. That's why you're the brains, because I can't get it straight in my head.
No, you're smart. You're smart in your own way. Like I'm smart in my own way. And my weapon of choice is going to be my mind. I'm going to look at the bad guy and I'm going to assess the best situation. And with teamwork, we're going to win the day.
I'm a child of horror movies. I love all of this. Absolutely everything about horror movies. Oh my God, count me in. So this is super, super fun for me because, I mean, oh my God, this is a chance to explore those houses that I just fall in love with in films. So let me in. I want to see what fun we can find.
Harlow.
Harlow's a bit more tentative. She wants to go with her friends. I want to go along, but also that house does not look safe. But her 2 favorite people in the world are both highly on board, so it's kind of hard to say no.
Well, at this point, 20 years ago, it is in much better condition. It's actually possible someone lives here. It's not the nicest house, but if you picture the kind of wear and tear you see on, like you're watching a show about like 1980s Oklahoma, and there are the houses that were built in the 50s and haven't been taken care of, but people are still in them. They're habitable. Like if the code inspector came out, he'd have some complaints, but he wouldn't condemn the joint. The fact that someone lives here is the central thesis of many myths, actually. I don't know if that makes it better or worse for you, but...
Not better. That means somebody else could be in there. Somebody I wouldn't want to come across.
I'll grab Harlow's hand as she's kind of like hesitant, and I kind of see that on her face. And I'll just grab her hand and I'll hold it up with mine. And I'll just say, "Don't worry, I got you."
Okay.
Thomas, for his part, is now urging you on. Michael's the one getting ready to go up there, and Thomas extends a hand to cut across, not touching Michael. He's not an idiot, but to block him, Michael off. He says, No. We should make Harlow go. Come on, Harlow, what's the matter? Are you afraid?
She's not afraid.
No, look at her. She's afraid.
Thomas, be nice to Harlow. She's brave as any of us.
Okay, you know what, Michael? Maybe she is. Then she can prove it.
Fine. I'll go. I'll tentatively go first. It's very obvious that I'm petrified. It's also very obvious that I'm trying to hide that with some stubbornness.
Well, there are several ways into the house. The front door being the only one that we know doesn't work. Are you trying the coal chute? Are you trying one of the windows?
I'll shoot it is, because I'm assuming I'm going to get bullied if I don't.
I'm assuming you're going to get bullied if you are, because as you approach, Thomas has watched Gabby be kind and trying to squeeze your hand. But if anyone dares approach, no. Thomas is very physical in the way that he keeps you all back. This is something he wants to watch Harlow do. Not alone. It's not like you have to disappear, but 5 or 10 feet away, making it clear that, yeah, go ahead, because if there's something in there, like, you're going to be the first one to find out, but we'll all be safe back here. Yeah, go ahead. Open it up.
Thanks, Thomas. I'll remember this. I open it up and I peer down to see if I can see anything, how far the drop is.
It goes into the basement. It's about 6 feet, but it's not a sheer forward drop. There's a ramp to it, so you could slide down. And then at the end of the ramp, there's maybe like a 2-foot drop at the end. So 8 feet from ground level to the floor of the basement, but it's a sign. Well, did you get your tetanus shot?
Yeah, sure. I think at our age we don't really have the option. They give you one whether you like it or not.
Yeah, then you'll be fine.
Joy. Yeah, so I kind of look back. I look at all of them. I look panicked.
I give her just a quiet little thumbs up, like, "Yeah, you got this."
I'm also giving an overly enthusiastic thumbs up, just like, "You're doing great."
I look nervous for her. I'm genuinely nervous. I'm genuinely nervous for her.
I turn around and I slide in. Slightly more resolved by some thumbs up.
Thomas reacts with visible disapproval at the encouragement coming around. Talk about what happens to Harlow in just a moment. Who is the next person who tries to follow?
I'll go next. I wanted to be there for Harlow, and if I can, I would like to be there to support her, so she's not down in the dark, spooky thing by herself.
How long do you wait?
As soon as I hear, I don't know if there's like a thud from her shoes, like hitting the bottom that I can hear, but as soon as it kind of sounds like she's reached the bottom of the slide, I'll start making my way over.
You get about 1.5 steps when Thomas grabs the back of your shirt. No, wait a second. This is about how brave she is, not how quick you go to rescue her.
I'm not going to rescue her. The whole point is that we're going in the house, right? Why do we have to just leave her by herself?
Because I want to see how she handles it, right?
Okay, but it's not fair if Harlow handles fighting the ghosts without me. I want in on that action.
Oh, look, I'm sure that if there are ghosts down there, A, we would hear screaming by now, and B, no matter what happens to Harlow, you'll be able to clean up afterwards. Just give it a second. It's not fun if she's not scared. It's not fun if she doesn't start to worry.
Yeah, it is actually. What? That's not a nice thing to say, Thomas.
Yeah,
Why
Thomas
would
is
it
kind
be
of irritating me a bit here.
Say more about that, Michael.
Listen, I don't like. I say this kind of like hushed. Harlow adores you. Why do you want to make her suffer?
I don't want to make her suffer. Besides, it's not suffering. It's just a house. You said so yourself.
You know she's scared. I didn't want to say that, but kind of a dickhead sometimes.
Oh, I'm the dickhead.
Yeah, you are. Sometimes you're really mean.
I'm the mean one, Michael.
All right. Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes I'm the mean one too. We all have our days where we're the mean one.
Okay, well then why can't I have a day right now? Why can't I be the one who
Because-
just wants to see this happen?
Because we're supposed to be friends. Why do you want to be mean to your friends?
Sometimes the people who are nicest to you are the ones who are mean, Gabby.
That
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense at all.
I'm learning that right now.
Well, it's not a fight that Thomas continues to pick. And the whole conversation takes, what, 2-3 minutes? Harlow, you can hear the voices outside. It's difficult to make out individual words. It's a bit of an echo when they are outside, but the cellar is smaller than you imagined. Not claustrophobic, but in this space, maybe 7 feet by 10 feet, there's obviously just enough room for what is an enormous furnace, and you cannot see this thing and be a child and not have immediately come to mind either the brave little toaster or the kitchen from Beauty and the Beast. It's just impossible. One of those two things is going to happen.
Cool. Now I'm going to have a nightmare tonight. Thanks. Brave little toaster fucks you up.
It's not a
It's one of
children's movie.
It was
They
one of
say-
my favorite movies as a kid. No joke.
You know, when
think-
I think of like creepy ass basement furnaces, I think of Home Alone 1 with like the monster in the basement and it's just a
Mm.
creepy ass furnace.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, if you think Kult is terrifying, go watch The Brave Little Toaster. That movie is terrifying.
The car scene always gets me.
This is the place you find yourself in. No, it smells of mildew and time. That dusty, wet, not wet, it's more moist, very earthy. And there's that lingering touch of coal from God knows however long ago. I don't know that Harlow will be able to place that smell, but it's very mineral. It's a basement in a house that may or may not be lived in, so of course there are long strings of webs hanging from the wooden supports that go across the top, holding the floor up. And it's an older house. If you look up, you can actually see the wooden paneling that goes just underneath the floor above you. Harlow, there's no way there is not something creepy down here. And I don't mean it like in a serial killer way, although maybe, you never know. But there's got to be like an insect or a bug or a rodent. Which of those things would be the most unpleasant to find? And look me in the eyes, because if you pick the one of the three that you're okay with, I'm going to see it in your face and I'm going to know. Do not do that like, oh, I'm definitely afraid of clowns. Anything but a clown. I will know.
Actually, objectively, Krissy, and there's only two bugs that I am afraid of. Those really long, like, silverfish millipede things that like to hang out in dark, damp places.
Like a basement.
They used to hang out in the hotel that I worked at in our sink, and I still have nightmares about them. So those and the big old fucking cave crickets, like the ones that are like the size of your fucking fist, and their legs are longer than my fingers. Those nasty things. Those are the two things I'm afraid of, and those are two things that I know for a fact, both in character and out, like to hang out in creepy, crawly fucking basements.
Not right now, but when we're done here, please tell me what hotel you used to work at so I know not to go there.
Okay.
Well, the cricket you may or may not have heard, but the silverfish, on the other hand, it does sound to me like the thump of two child feet hitting the ground. Hey, kitty. And then the slow, tentative steps that you're taking would be enough to cause one of the insects to seek out some kind of cover.
I'm not gonna scream in your ear, but at that point, Harlow would let out a very loud shriek.
Do you do the dancing up on your feet, get away with it? Do you do the attack it? When your friends come, because they will come when you scream, what are they going to find, Harlow-wise?
She probably would have tried to dance away from it. She wants to be as far away as she can, so dancing backwards, maybe into a wall or something. Hell, maybe into more bugs. Oh, why did I give you that idea?
I, honest to God, don't know. Rookie mistake right there. Well, upstairs, on the ground, outside, Ralph, Michael, Gabrielle. You hear the shriek. Oh, that's shrill. My ear just like psychosomatically hurt thinking about a 13-year-old girl shrieking. That is the noise that comes piercing, emphasis on piercing, up from the coal chute.
My body language is... Oh, yeah, no, continue.
No, you first, please.
Oh, okay. My body language is that of, like all kids when they hear a noise, their bodies shuffle and they pull everything inward, and my arms are inside my head, looks around, eyes wide, scared. I'm the epitome of the freeze response. I am now completely shut off as I'm scared looking around.
When I hear Harlow scream, I just kind of like pull my arm forward to break Thomas's grip on the back of my shirt, because I'm not gonna wait any longer.
I want to say I throw myself in there to self-detriment, like clumsily just slipping down the coal shaft and trying to rush to Harlow's defense, also because I want to beat up a ghost.
I mean, logically, makes sense to me. It sounds based on the urgency of action and the things you've taken that, Harlow, you'll be there for just a moment before Michael comes. I'm imagining you trying to go feet first, but not really giving yourself the time to like properly sit like you're going down a slide. So it ends up being, I mean, if you stuck the landing, it would be a super cool surfer move, but why don't you roll reflexes and we'll see how impressive the landing is. And then once we've resolved that, we will have Gabby come right behind.
I think my dice are broken because I just got another 18.
Take it when the good Lord gives it to you. So what incredibly cool pose are you making when you land?
I had a plan for this, but now that I've succeeded, it seems weird. But yeah, I'll scoot down the coal shaft. I land with my wrists, my palms into the dirt, and then I'll kind of just do a forward flip and stand back up like I meant to do it. But I do have the pebbles embedded in my hand from when I landed hard.
That's just extra damage when you punch the ghost.
Yeah.
You see Harlow, obviously terrified, just legs pumping up and down. I mean, like, it's a bit stereotypical to say, like, the girl in the corner doing this, but it seemed actually a little bit accurate, so I don't feel that bad. Harlow, how are you communicating the threat?
I've screamed myself hoarse, so at this point I'm just kind of like like pointing at it and like trying to speak, but it's coming out in these.
This is the opportunity I've been waiting my whole life for, and I'll run over to Harlow and I will pick her up in my arms so she doesn't
Wow.
have to fight the silverfish.
Big, strong man.
Try to be.
Wow, a mix of terror and a hint of jealousy, I'm guessing, out of Gabrielle. As you descend, Harlow has been extricated from the situation, kept safe in Michael's arms. We haven't solved the bug problem yet.
Yeah, as I see Harlow in Michael's arms, I get this little like pang of jealousy, like, oh, I can't do that. Does she like that? Is it but I try not to let it show for too long. Is the bug still visible?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I always wear combat boots. Always. These are not as shiny as the ones that I'll be wearing 20 years from now. They're definitely ones that you could buy at the Payless that just like look like combat boots, but like aren't actually like combat boots, but they look the part and they do a decent enough job at bug stomping. So I would actually like to go over and stomp the bug.
All right, well, roll initiative. No, I'm just kidding. It's very much a first level adventure. Go into the basement, kill the bug. No, you are triumphant. Victor the bug stood no chance. We're going to call you Gabby Grub Smasher from henceforth.
Oh, I love that name. Need it on a t-shirt.
No, I just actually accidentally just inspired like your bass guitarist name 20 years from now.
Ooh.
I didn't mean to, but there it is.
Well, there you go.
Well, I don't know if the bug guts make it better or worse, Harlow, but you are up off the ground and the bug is smashed deeply into it.
Thank you. Thank you all. Good job, Gabby.
Thanks.
I'm sorry. That scream was really loud. It just startled me. I guess I should have expected it. It is a basement. Can we lie and tell Thomas it was a ghost? I don't want him to make fun of me for screaming that loud at a bug.
Yeah, it was obviously a ghost. This is ectoplasm on my boots.
Yeah. Thank you.
Tough girl, Gabby.
Wow.
And I'm gonna slowly set Harlow down.
Thank you, Michael.
Did Thomas and Ralph never come down?
This happened very, very quickly. And as I understand it, Ralph wasn't going anywhere of his own volition for a little while yet. And Thomas did not appear eager to help anybody. So I'm guessing it's going to be at least a few minutes if unprompted, maybe longer.
Yeah, Ralph was absolutely sitting around doing fuck all nothing like the amazing Sigma champ male that he is. Oh.
Excuse you. It's my job.
Well, Thomas was not keen to wait. He did depart, Ralph, rolling his eyes. Can't tell if it's the wind that said fucking pussy as you left, but who knows. He wanders off to the left side of the house. There's windows and such. He is going that direction. I don't know if it's just a vibe, but it did not seem like he wanted company. Choice is yours, Ralph.
Ralph definitely takes a minute to sense that his company may not be wanted, and that kind of hurts him a bit, but his reaction is to kind of try to patch that up with friendship, and he continues talking to Thomas. Yeah, so maybe when we're done here we can go to the comic book store and buy something. I think there's a new Flash comic book. It could be a lot of fun. Do you want to what's your favorite comic book to buy, Thomas?
He has enough of a head start on you that there's a moment where he's able to not like get away, escape, but you're like 10 or 15 feet back where you wouldn't start the conversation yet. And I appreciate the urge of friendship that you're going for, but it becomes a little obvious as you get closer why he was looking for some space, because as you close the distance enough to actually start asking those questions, you don't hear Thomas respond. He's actually crying. Then it starts out as a normal little kind of sniffle before it gets into like ugly, snotty, gross child sobbing.
Emotions are always weird for a young child to be around, especially when they haven't really been acclimated well to them, and Ralph certainly hasn't, as he kind of puts a hand on him and gives him that kind of awkward arm rub and just goes, what's wrong? What's wrong, Thomas?
He's quiet for a good 15, 20, 30 seconds. And it's not the kind of silence that comes from trying to collect yourself or think of something. He's not starting with like a, well, you see, in fact, he doesn't say anything. There's just the moment of it building, and then finally you've been attempting to break this for 30 seconds or so, and he just like snaps and turns at you, and his eyes are wide and still sobbing. Obviously I keep falling back on the word snotty because there's really no other way to describe that perfect, like, messy child face of having crying. And he's just like, I hate living here. I hate not being with my real father. And sometimes I hate all of you. And sometimes you're also all that keeps me alive. And I can't take this shit anymore. Just fuck all of this. How do you stop? Ralph, how do you keep from going insane? Why can't my life just be normal for once?
I'm sorry, Thomas. I don't know. I guess it's just because I have you guys. I get to escape whatever isn't great at home or in my life, and I know that's not gonna help you, I guess. If you hate us, I'm sorry, Thomas. I want to make us better. I want to make you happy, Thomas. I don't know how to make you happy. Maybe we'll run away one day. Just you, me, Gabby, and Harlow. And I mean, if Michael wants to, he can come too. I don't know. We'll just run away.
You've always been my friend, but you saw the way that Gabby talked about me.
Well, I mean, sometimes people get mad. That's what my parents say, and then we have to forgive them, and we have to talk about it and work through it. Maybe you just gotta apologize and say you're sorry, and say why you were mad or something. I don't know.
And it's fine when Michael gets mad. Michael can punch things, and that's fine. And then I cross the line, and suddenly I'm the one who's causing all the trouble, and I'm not the real friend. So she's gonna run away with us too.
I don't like it when Michael gets mad. He gets scary. He gets really violent. I don't like it. I don't think you should be violent like Michael is. But he's a friend, and sometimes I guess you gotta let people do the thing that they do. And I think Michael he wants to be violent. I don't know, Thomas, but you can be better than Michael.
Do you know what people like Michael turn into when they're grown-ups?
I heard they're called a-holes.
That's fucking funny. that actually legitimately. First of all, like, as I'm doing this, I have reached the actor tearing up part, getting into it, so I'm actually crying a little. And then second, that just fucking took me entirely off my vibe.
I'm so sorry. I was just trying to think of how a
No,
12-year-old
it was
who doesn't swear would respond to that.
super good. No, I'm like Jimmy Fallon, where I just cannot, to save my life, stay in the fucking joke. It's worse than that. And he pauses, and he's shying away from your hand. But rather than turning towards you, he turns more fully away. And he reaches down, his hands crossing himself, to grab the bottom of his shirt. And he starts to pull it up. And it only has to get not a half foot, that's literally most of his chest. Just inch by inch, revealing bruises in a panoply of colors. There's the sickly green yellow of a nice seasoned vintage of bruise. There's the deep, ugly bluish purple of a fresher one. There's even that raised skin red welt of something that couldn't have happened more than 3 or 4 hours ago.
Ralph looks at Thomas, at the bruises, with fascination, not morbid, but just confused, coming to terms with this in reality. Thomas, if someone's touching you in a way you don't like, you should go tell a teacher, or you should go tell a cop or a priest.
It's my fucking parents, Ralph. It's my foster parents.
I'm sorry, you don't deserve
What are they
that.
gonna find more foster parents so they can do it too? I'm gonna go tell the cops you've seen my dad.
Yeah, I don't know, but is there a way you can live with me and my family? You could be like my brother. We could hang out all the time. We could play D&D every day, and this wouldn't happen.
I don't know. I was like, well, I just could live with my mom. I wish she was still here.
I wish they were too. You're my friend, man. I don't want this for you, but I don't know how to solve this, man. I don't know how to make this any better. Do you wanna spend the night at my place, and then maybe we'll see about getting a lawyer, and then we can go make the cops take your dad away to jail or something. I don't know, man. I don't want this for you, man. You're my best friend. I don't like seeing you hurt.
There are a million reasons why a 13-year-old boy would not seek help. And the tragedy of the system is that plenty of children who don't get it. That the principle comes from a time when corporal punishment was okay, or the social worker's just too overworked to make a house visit. And maybe one of the saddest things about this moment is not Thomas's helplessness, but where it comes from. It's a force bigger than he understands. The bureaucracy and machinery that has abandoned him to the fate that he exists in. But that moment will pass. Thomas collecting himself, of course, using his sleeve to in that time, the three below, I suppose you could have waited for all of this. It was certainly too far away for you to hear. But now that the bug situation has been settled, I'm guessing you don't give it too terribly long waiting for Ralph and Thomas before either the urge to adventure calls you forward, or you just decide you're tired of being in the musty, terrible basement and would like to go upstairs.
Maybe we should go unlock the front door?
Yeah, that makes sense. We'll go upstairs. Let the other two in because apparently they're too afraid, and I'll call up through the shaft, kind of like winking to Harlow as I do.
You made fun of me.
I didn't make fun of you.
Not you.
Oh yeah, don't worry about it. He's having a day, I think.
I think you just woke up on the wrong side of the bed. You know how Thomas can be sometimes.
You're great though, Harlow. Like, I think you're great. Gabby thinks you're great.
I screamed at a bug. I don't feel very great right now.
It's a big bug.
Yeah.
I think you mean ghost that we kicked
Right.
butt defeating.
Yeah. Well, you and your combat boots did.
Yeah. You know.
I am deeply storyteller afraid of what happens if I let this jealousy love triangle brew down here. But the idea of going upstairs, at the very least, unlocking the front door, I mean, it makes sense. Yeah, Thomas. He was projecting, obviously, about being afraid going downstairs. Duh, classic Thomas. So, upstairs, down the hallway, the house is laid out in that I cannot think of how to convey just like the classic period where like there's the house that goes just in a straight line down the entire home, and you can access the whole place. Like those old buildings just have a certain functionality built into them that your modern like open plan doesn't. So it's actually quite easy. You come up the stairwell, and it's attached to the side of the house almost. On one hand is the stairwell, on the other side is the chimney. So you still have that symmetry. But it gets you to the center hallway that leads across the entire home, parallel to the front. So you'll pass a few rooms on the right, a larger room on the left, and you make that left-hand turn, and that's where the big sweeping double staircase comes down. That's where the front door is. And it's got that really nice, satisfying old lock. I don't know if you've been in a home when they've built in like the 40s or the 50s, and when you turn the lock underneath, it's got that like nice springy chunk to it. And there is Ralph, and there is Thomas. Thomas, there's nothing in the world he could do that would change the red streakiness in his eyes or the disgusting snotty mess on his shoulder. But your reaction to that is going to be contextualized deeply by what Ralph looks like. So as the door opens and your three friends lay eyes upon this scene, what are you trying to communicate with your face, Ralph?
Ralph is not a very good liar at this point in his life, and his eyes are very pink, that kind of glistening pink that comes when a kid is about to cry or has been stressed, I guess. He hasn't quite gone the full cry yet. My body is very tense. I'm breathing very heavily. And at this point, my arms are down by my side, and I look very defeated.
Is everything okay?
And we'll give you the chance that Thomas's face absolutely communicates a 0% desire to talk about this.
I don't know why you guys are so worried. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm just gonna like emphasize that like he knows that his face is a mess. He knows that his sleeve is snotty, but he is like just with the balls, the audacity to lie in this case, 100%. Just like everything's fine. No, totally, everything definitely fine. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were just talking. We realized we have allergies, and we were sneezing a lot, and it was I had to use Thomas's sleeve to blow my nose. It's very gross. It's very but Thomas is really cool like that. He let me do that.
Michael, you were going to say?
I see them initially kind of like super upset as I open this door, and my thought immediately goes to, well, if it's more than just allergies, Harlow's okay. She's fine. Because I don't have that depth of emotion perception in order to understand that there's something truly wrong with my friends right now. And I just assumed they were worried about Harlow.
You see Ralph kind of go, "Oh, okay. I'm glad you're safe, Harlow. I don't want you to be in trouble. Gabby, you're back. You're okay. I'm so happy to see that you're okay too."
Yeah. Yeah. Harlow was really spooked and surprised down below because there was a ghost in the basement. And
wait, you saw a ghost?
Yeah, and we had to fight it off.
Gabby did so good.
Gabby saved you. Gabby, how did you beat the ghost? Oh my gosh.
Like, I came here to fight ghosts, but Gabby is the true ghost fighter here.
You know what? It's the shoes. What can I say? And I like lift up my shoe and show like the bits, and I'm just like, that's ectoplasm.
Ew, that's so gross. You kicked a ghost and you killed it?
Yep.
What?
I kicked him right in his stupid ghost face.
You're like a kung fu legend. How do you kick ghosts in the face? You're the Gabby. You're the coolest, man.
Thanks, Ralph.
Yeah, I'm gonna start changing up her battle formation. No offense, Michael, but she kills ghosts. I'm putting her in the front.
I think she does more damage than me anyways.
It's the sneak attack.
Yeah.
It'll get you every time.
Yeah, but we gotta close our flanks so you can be in the back, and then if anyone tries to attack us, then you can do your thing. And then Harlow, you can be in the middle, and you can inspire us all to be brave.
Mm-hmm.
See, this is the problem. People learn D&D wrong because you cannot sneak attack an invisible creature. And that's just obvious rules as written. And the reason that your game is going this way is because you're letting the rogue get away with bullshit.
Yeah, and not even until like 5th edition could you even sneak attack those ghosts because they were incorporeal and were immune to critical hits and precision attacks. So really, we're just flubbing all kinds of rules. What
Ralph,
is this?
You fucking idiot.
I am such a pushover DM. This is absurd. This is a monkey circus.
No. So actually now I have a very, very important question because
Oh, yeah.
Gabrielle, do you know that you're not allowed? Because this is what I'm trying to get at. Did you like flirt bully Ralph into doing this, or is it honest to God just like a mistake that people have made reading the rule? No, it's not, because literal PJ just told me the actual answer. There's no way Ralph doesn't know. So now the question becomes, how did you convince him to let you?
I don't think I had to convince him at all. I think I just said, hey, I want to do this thing. And Ralph, being my best friend, didn't want to tell me no and just said, yeah, of course you can. Absolutely, Gabby, whatever you want.
Ralph,
I think as Ralph grows up, he learns the proper term is also simp. So yeah, I think that's a part of it too.
Why we also don't let people who are dating run games for one another at Queensport Games.
True. That's true.
But this is important because this is a lesson that I swear to God, like right now in chat, there's someone like, yep, this is my childhood. That happened. And we've nailed that verisimilitude. There are other things to explore in the house, and being what it is, and children being who they are, once that initial creepy vibe settles and it's obvious there is not a werewolf, because like if there was, you'd know by now, you can start to spread out a little bit. Not so far that you wouldn't be able to run to help, but if one person turns left and goes into the living room, there's nothing to say the other person can't just be in the kitchen a couple doors, or at least one door down. And that's important for a couple reasons. But I would like to know, as the I almost said coterie. As the party, still not appropriate, as this gaggle of children come off the porch into the entryway and begin to disperse through the house, who is the last person?
It wouldn't be me.
No, you're the leader. We've established that.
Mm-hmm.
It honestly probably would be Harlow. She's mentally battling with being mad that she was made fun of, but also seeing her best friend who made fun of her cry. I don't know whether or not to be mad at him now, so I stand outside, partially kind of hoping he says something, but also just kind of mentally struggling with whether or not to call him out on it.
Well, you have a few hours in the house yet, and for Thomas's part, whether or not he recognizes that what he did was wrong, there's certainly no part of him that is ready to take on the advice that Ralph gave him to apologize. And it's got nothing to, I mean, you're 13 and a girl and they're not talking, so God only knows what you're thinking, but Tom's kind of has his hands full right now. And maybe you get a glimpse of that as he turns to you for a second and you think the apology is coming or that something is there, and you look in his face and you just see like the sadness that he's exhausted his reserve of emotional energy with that first facade, and now the weight is starting to creep back onto his shoulders. However, there will come a moment, you're the last person in line, where you go to shut the door. You know what doors sound like. You could get certified in doorology if you needed to. And when you come to slam this one, it's not the wooden chunk of, well, an old plantation-style home door. It's that hefty metallic clunk of a truck, a big truck. Like one of those Ford 970s, double wheels in the back. And the sound of a, what was it? You said Ford Thundermax 9000 engine. Yeah, it's got 14 cylinders, each one the size of a small child. It gets 8 feet to the gallon, like that kind of engine. The kind that an adult Michael actually might put in his truck, now that I think about it. This sound is real. It's not in the distance. There's a fucking truck parked outside this house right now.
Guys, there's someone here.
We gotta hide. We gotta hide.
Crap. Maybe it's one of our parents. Maybe we should go home.
We go back down through the basement and go up through the coal chute. They won't find us.
I don't think we can get out of the coal chute. I think it's too steep. Can we just go out the back door?
It's a good idea.
Couldn't hurt to try.
As the deliberation continues, it doesn't take that long for you to have this conversation, 30 seconds, and that is long enough for the noise to be gone.
Leave?
I don't. Who's closest to a window? Can I see out the door I just closed?
Sure, you can turn around. There's nothing there.
Oh,
There's no truck. There's no one approaching the house. There's no tracks in the dirt or the gravel.
I guess I must have been hearing things. I'm sorry.
I think we all heard it too. I don't think you're wrong.
Maybe it was a bear.
Well,
I don't think bears sound like trucks, Michael.
You haven't
Yeah,
heard the
it's-
legend of Truck Bear?
is it
No.
too late to? I'm gonna start stat blocking that. Truck bear. That sounds so much fun to fight. But no, Ralph, there's a time for that later. You didn't see anything out there, Harlow?
No, there's not even tracks. Like you would have.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say you would have thought a truck would have left tracks. There's nothing out there.
It sounded like a really big, awesome truck.
Maybe. Do you think maybe it was like an airplane flying overhead, but we heard it wrong or something?
I don't know that someone as well, it's 1999. That's barely internet. So if you want a video of a plane, it's going to take you 4 hours to download. But that said, I refuse to believe that Ralph is the kind of child who would mix up aircraft engine with truck engine. Like, that is just not a mistake he would make.
No, he is too hyper acute with details and minutia, but he is clutching at straws.
I guess. Well, okay. So, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle once said, when you are on a case and you have information, no matter how improbable or impossible, whatever you remove, whatever's left has to be possible. So we heard a truck, we didn't see a truck. What does that mean? Ghost truck.
Ghost truck.
Ghost truck.
Ghost truck! You guys fought a ghost. Maybe the ghost had a truck.
Oh my god, that must have been the ghost's truck.
Gabrielle, you kicked its butt so hard it left.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, you did.
And thus your exploration can continue without fear of Ghost Trucker.
Still a little weird though.
There's a one shot brewing in my head right now. I'm gonna put that on paper immediately after this game.
The Revenge of Ghost Truck.
No, you're thinking of the sequel. We have to do Ghost Truck one first.
Yeah.
Ask not for who he honks for you.
It is really weird though, because I know it wasn't a ghost. So if we all heard a truck, we know it's not a ghost truck. Well, we know it's not that ghost's truck. But I'm not going to say that. But I'll just kind of give that look to Michael and to Harlow.
I'm far too excited by the concept that ghosts can either be trucks or have trucks. No
Well,
deeper thought.
If you ever see, there's a movie, I think it's based off a book. It's about a car that comes to life that tries to like kill people. It hits on its human boyfriend / driver. There's got to be a truck that does the same thing. Right?
Yeah, that makes so much sense.
Yeah. But wait, if it wasn't a ghost truck, do you think maybe I might have not heard. Do you think it went around the house? Maybe the truck's in the back?
Maybe.
I mean, that's pushing reason. First of all, that truck was very loud. And unless it's a hover truck, you would be able to see where it was driving. And I mean, you can take all the time you need. Go ahead, go outside, look and see.
I mean, yeah, Ralph at this point is so intoxicated with wonder that he's going to go outside and take a look for ghost truck tracks or what else, whatever there could be out there.
Nothing at all.
Nothing at all.
But who? Right. Okay. One of two things has happened. Either one of you believes that it is worth investigating and would go, or one of you is not going to let Ralph go look like an idiot tracking down a ghost truck by himself.
If we're gonna go actually find this ghost truck, I'm all in.
Can always count on Michael for a good ghost truck hunt.
Hell yeah.
But I would imagine, Harlow, you are still probably a little bit on edge, and Gabrielle, you're not going too far from Harlow.
No. Especially if there are any more ghosts that need squashing.
Mm-hmm. House this old, probably full of ghosts. Probably rotten to the timbers with ghosts.
Probably.
Well, so the entryway of the house is actually a beautiful open 2-story bit. You can like an atrium almost. It's not big enough to really deserve that title, but it's nice. Rack on the right for shoes, empty. Mat on the floor left for rain boots, 1 pair. There's a table in the center of this entryway, the kind where you'd put the vase and the plant. Vase, yes. Plant, no. It's a Polaroid camera sitting on the center, just off where the vase is. Hallway stretches left and right. God only knows what's in those rooms. Presumably there are bedrooms upstairs, but I mean, it could be anything. Construction got weird in the 70s and 80s. I mean, brutalism was around. Anything's possible. It's an architecture joke. I can see that it did not land with this audience. All right. So we will put Harlow and Gabby in that situation. Thomas still on the threshold. See where he goes.
Are you rolling or are you waiting on us? I can't tell.
I'm waiting. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm waiting for you.
I thought I heard. Let's see where he goes. I thought you were rolling to see what he was gonna do. So.
Oh no, that's my mistake. I am doing something that in the Kult parlance specifically they call using a GM move, where when the story calls for it or an action has occurred, you as the storyteller can then affect the party. And I'm using the specific move, separate the party.
Oh, is that what you're doing?
Mhm.
Joy.
I mean, I've got them written down. You can't see, but
As soon as I spot the Polaroid camera, I run over and I check it. Does it feel like there's film inside it?
How do you know? Is it the weight?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
I've legitimately never owned one. I know how they work, but I've never actually held one in my hands.
I mean, like, you don't want to open it because if there is film, right? Like, it's going to ruin it.
The ones I had always had a counter on them too.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Mhm.
yeah. God, that's right. They used to have
Yeah,
counters.
especially this is like 1999. If it's one of those like turn dial ones, you'd have the number of how many shots were left on your roll.
Oh, I don't mean disposable. I mean like the old-fashioned like chunk prints out, shake it.
Yeah, like a
Yeah.
Polaroid. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
I had. I mean, I still have them. They're in my closet. They have counters on them that you reset whenever you reload the film in. So yeah, usually there's a way to see if there's film left.
Also, do not shake your Polaroids.
We here at Queen's Court do not condone the shaking of Polaroid pictures. It actually ruins the process by which the photo forms.
So
You're
you're saying we
shaking-
should not shake it like a Polaroid picture?
No, that was
Okay.
No.
And honestly, if you're going to Outcast for your photography advice, that's a mistake. Like for sort of mistake right there, right?
Yeah.
That's fair.
Do not consult
And-
rappers about photography. Consult professionals.
No, and also dropping it as if it was quite warm indeed will break the pot or pan you're holding. So please don't drop it like it's hot. You will break your cookware.
Use
So
safety.
is
tools.
there film in this camera?
I don't have a good answer to that question. What would be more interesting to you? Obviously, there's film in it.
Obviously, yes. There's
Okay,
film
well,
in it.
whether by weight or by your knowledge of American numerals, Arabic numerals rather, yeah. In fact, the camera's in pretty good condition.
Yeah. Hey, Harlow, smile. I'll just take a picture of Harlow with the camera.
Get that nice like ka-chunk coming out the front.
Yeah. Grab the picture, set it off to the side.
They do have like a really nice mechanical clunk when you snap a picture like that. Oh, it's this very satisfying sound.
Mm-hmm. You said Thomas is standing on the threshold, so he's still here.
Standing. He's wandering.
Wandering.
And,
Okay.
yeah.
Is he within? I mean, can I see him still? Could I call out to him and take a picture of him if he turns around?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Oh, okay. All right. Hey, Thomas.
Turns around.
Smile. And I hold up the camera.
You have never seen Thomas move this fast in his entire life. As he sprints forward to you and just smashes the camera down out of your hand onto the ground.
Whoa, Thomas. What was that for?
Not answering your question, too busy stomping the shit out of that camera.
Thomas!
Just watch him do this, and try and shove him off, see if I can save the camera.
Both of those things, half of those things, yes, you can push Thomas away. This camera has been, it's not gonna.
What the hell is wrong with you?
He's not inclined to explain himself. There is a rush of panic flying up over his face that this was not, and I don't know if you're emotionally intelligent to see that at this stage of your life, but that difference between someone being angry, intentional, and then that desperate rabid animal kind of action. And he's so inside of himself. I mean, maybe that makes it better that you can tell it has absolutely nothing to do with you. His intention is consumed entirely with that camera. When he was running at you, he didn't make eye contact with you. He was staring at that camera. And once it was smashed on the ground, his ears were closed to anything that you said because he was staring down and smashing the camera. And even now, it's taking him time to come out from whatever state he was in. So you're saying, what was wrong with you? And deaf ears. And then you kind of see him coming back to the moment now that this camera has been neutralized, if it were ever a threat. And the hands are starting to tremble a little bit. And then he's looking around the room to Harlow, to Gabrielle. At this point, Ralph, Michael, if you've made it back in because there was consternation, he'll make eye contact with you too. And he feels all of a sudden at the center of a very small universe. And without another word, goes sprinting upstairs. Just point to point. What does trigonometry say is the direction I need to move to get as far away from the four of you as possible? And you can't go through the door because Michael's there and you're right, and that's so upstairs, just fast as can be.
I just wanted to take a picture.
I'm sorry, Gabby.
Why would you do that? I don't understand what his deal is.
Thomas, he ruins everything.
Ralph, what happened while you were outside?
When it was just me and Thomas, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
His foster parents are kind of being mean to him.
Oh.
They're hurting him. I don't know. I don't think it's my place to say.
Should I go up there?
I think you definitely would like someone to be with them.
You can go. I'm so mad at him right now. I don't think I'd have anything nice to say to him.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat with Gabby.
Okay. Oh, I'll walk in that general direction and go up.
The stairs protest loudly under your feet. Just old wood creaking. There's a runner that goes up. It's supposed to be like a nice mahogany red color, but it's dirty, so you can't tell if it's maybe supposed to be crimson and just filthy, or if it's actually supposed to be that deep kind of red. It doesn't matter. You make it upstairs, and at this point, the hallways mirror their layout on the bottom floor, caught in direction of where Thomas goes. But even then, it wouldn't matter, because once you've reached the top, if you just pause for a second, you can hear something, and it's rhythmic. There's a sense of metronome-like time to it. I'm not describing it intentionally, just because it's gonna be hard for you to pick out that noise. And honestly, if I say it out loud, there's nothing else that sounds like this. But you can use that sound to get closer to the direction and eventually find its source. Thomas turned left at the top of the stairs. That takes him in the opposite direction from the coal chute stairway to the side of the house that has the chimneys on it. When the door is open, he didn't bother to close it. It's in a study or a library of some kind. He's sitting, knees on butt on his haunches. He has a Bible, and he's tearing the pages out very deliberately, one at a time, starting 1 Genesis. In the beginning there was nothing, and then I don't know, I've no idea what the back of the book says, sorry. I know how it ends, no spoilers, but and it's the first page, rip. And then the strike of a match, those big kitchen matches against a box, holds the match up to the piece of paper, watches it burn down to his fingertips, casts the burned paper towards the fireplace. Page 2, tears it out, strikes a match, holds it up, lets it burn down to his fingertips, throws it in the fireplace. Page 3. Over and over and over again for as long as you watch.
Thomas?
Doesn't turn, doesn't acknowledge your presence. Page 6. Tears it out. Strikes the match. Lets it burn down to his fingertips.
I go sit in front of him, kind of blocking the fireplace.
He'll stare up at you. Dead eyes. Just glass. The fact that you're blocking the fireplace doesn't seem to bother him. Page 10 at this point. Rips it. Strikes a match. He's holding it up in front of you now, but it's like you're not even there. He lets it burn down to his fingertips. He won't flick it at you. At least he got that going for you.
I'm gonna put my hand on top of the Bible to like stop him from tearing another page. We gotta go back downstairs. You okay?
Why?
Because the rest of us are down there. We can't leave them alone.
So? They leave me alone.
You made me leave you, and you made me go into the basement alone.
Yeah, and it was pretty terrible, wasn't it?
I would have never done that to you.
No, you wouldn't do that to me here. But I have to go home at night, and I'm alone then. Do you know who loves this book, Harlow? My foster parents. And they're always talking about how you can find any answer you want to any moral question about the universe. If you're ever in a place where you don't know what to do, you can open up this book and it has the answer.
The book always scared me.
We can see what it has to say about being with your friends. Maybe we can ask the book what to do.
Okay. What does it say?
He flips immediately, as if by memory, to the correct chapter and verse. It's the heavy Leviticus stuff about how to deal with disobedient children, where if the daughter disrespects the father, you're allowed to stone her to death. Spare the rod, spoil the child, don't mix fabrics or else we'll kill you. Old Testament D&D God, angry God, mean God.
For such a good book, it's so angry.
It's all lies. The book is lies, and the people who say they follow it, that's all lies too. But whatever. We can go back downstairs.
Hey. Don't make me go alone again.
We're all alone, Harlow. We just don't know it yet. And he takes a match and he strikes it, and this time he just drops it on top of the folded pages.
I look for something to put it out because I don't want it to burn the house down.
It's not going to be a fire extinguisher, but at this point you could stomp it out or honestly just slam it shut and get the job done.
That's what I'll do. I'll slam it shut.
There's a bit of resigned to this moment in Thomas's fate. He's obviously not going to start a fist fight with you over being able to burn the Bible. And it doesn't even seem important to him at that point, right? So he lets you stomp it in front of him even, right? And once it's clear he's not going to get what he wanted, he just kind of sinks back and then stands up. I don't understand why you're nice to me.
Because we're supposed to be friends.
But that's just like, it's always a circle. Because I asked you, why are you nice to me? And it's because we're friends. And then, well, why are we friends? Oh, because you're nice to me. Well, why are you nice to me? Because we're friends. And there's no, doesn't make any sense. And that's what Ralph, and he's the smartest one. And that's what he said.
It doesn't have to make sense, Thomas. We all need someone there for us.
But what makes you choose? That's what I don't understand. Because like, you can choose to be nice to someone and you can choose to be mean to someone, and it's just like made up. Do you just like to flip a coin somewhere? You're nice to me, and then the guys who torment us and like ruin our D&D, they're mean to me. What's the difference? Why did they pick? Why did you pick?
Because at one point in time you were nice to me too.
And why did I do that?
That's
to
a
be
good
clear,
question.
He doesn't mean it in like a, yeah, what the fuck is wrong with me? Why did I do that? But in more like an honest existential question.
I don't know.
Because I showed up here and what, we just decided to be friends? Can you do that?
I think it's less of a conscious decision and more of just that's what life put in front of us and put us in front of each other.
And what happens when life takes people apart? Are we going to stop being friends if, I don't know, what if I get a new foster family and I have to move across town or across Washington or like to Botswana or something?
I hope not. We're all we have.
Will we still be friends then?
I want to be your friend.
I want it to be true, but I don't know.
Grab his hand. Come on. Let's go back to our friends.
Thomas doesn't put up that much of a fight. And as you exit the room, standing up from this place in front of the fireplace, and you'll navigate around the furniture that is here under plastic. I should have mentioned that earlier, but we were having an emotional moment. I got excited for it. Of the kinds of furniture, there is a mirror adjacent the door. You wouldn't have seen it when you came in because you come in the door, you turn right, and there's Thomas right there. On the way out, you cannot help but notice the mirror, and you cannot help but notice the people inside of it. Because they're not you and Thomas, at least not any version of you and Thomas that would look familiar. I guess maybe if you squinted, you could see the resemblance in your face. It's a lot fuller. The hair is different. But it's a blink and you miss it kind of thing because you're not staring at the mirror, right? You catch it out of the corner of your eye and you look, and is that you? Would have to be an older you. Maybe you saw your mom? I don't know. The point is, if you go back to look, it's gone.
Did you see that?
This when Thomas is staring, like just directly dejected at the ground.
Nothing. I'm gonna take one last look at it as we're walking out.
The longer you stare, the less and less sure you are. The imagination is a strange thing. Is it something that you're doing to yourself? Is it... I mean, our senses lie to us all the time. But you can project that little blink of a memory towards it as a starting point. And you can see your cheekbones. Those are your cheekbones. And you can see the shape of your nose. You'd always recognize that. And some other things have changed, but maybe it's just seeing your own face that brings the clarity of that older version of you forward. Will you roll to keep it together for me?
Oh. Actually, I'll just do that in here again because that worked really well for me last time. That is a 9. That is a failure.
Well, not every failure comes with you take damage, you take stability loss. Sometimes the worst thing about failing is that you get the truth. Whatever you choose to do with that truth, that is whence comes consequences. But in this moment, there are two things to you that are absolutely clear. that was you. That's older you. You don't know how much older. Not obviously, 18. Your face was a little too tired. That puffy carbohydrate kind of tired. And God help you if you're 22 and that is your face. It had to be like, what, 30, 35? That's old when you're 13, right? 13-year-old me looking at me now. Yeah, that's old.
Uh-huh.
And it's the simultaneous realness and fakeness of it that will sit juxtaposed in your brain. As a child, I think the only thing you could possibly reach for in this moment would be, what is the only story that children know about a universe on the other side? There are a few you could pick from. Because we can step through the looking glass, or we can go through the cupboard into Narnia. Whatever metaphor your brain finds helpful, that is what you will settle on. You're not looking at the mirror, you're looking into the mirror, through the mirror, to you on the other side. Like it's a permeable membrane between two versions of something. And I don't know what your cosmology is. I don't know. Harlow did not seem especially religious. Harlow does not seem into the especially occult stuff. I don't know how your brain would choose to make sense of this, but those are the facts as written. Do you need a moment with that thought?
She just stares at herself for a second. Probably starts shaking a little. I think future Harlow is a very distraught looking individual. Seeing yourself look like that as a child is probably in its own way almost as traumatic as what she hasn't experienced yet. So she might be wondering if I'm losing my mind. And she just kind of grips Thomas's hand a little tighter and drag him down the stairs somewhat clumsily because she's not really seeing what's in front of her.
Thomas doesn't put up a fight. And the further you get away from the mirror, maybe the further it gets from your mind. At the very least, no longer staring at it helps. And in time, you'll be getting into small amounts of mischief with Ralph, and with Gabrielle, and with Michael. And it'll all settle, not back into normal, because it can never settle back fully to normal, but you'll get closer to that place of flat stability. Not in a mechanical sense, but in the just having your basic shit together sense. You will be able to make a tour of pretty much the entire upstairs and most of the downstairs without finding actually too much to get into trouble with. It is in many ways a house that could either be abandoned or owned by a grandparent, right? Not the young kind of grandparent where it's like, get on my lap and tell me how school was, or like, I'm going to get Christmas presents that I don't understand because I'm old. You said you liked Power Rangers, right? Yeah, when I was 12, Grandpa, I'm 13 now. It's way different. Oh, well, that's going to make Christmas awkward, right? It's like the late 80s, 90s, grandma can't clean the house up the way she used to when you start putting plastic on the furniture. And it moves in the way that old houses move, creaking in the wind. And every now and again you hear a thump somewhere. Oh, was that the ghost truck, or was it just a joist settling, or a bird in the attic? God only knows. But this experience culminates. By that I mean that's either this is the climactic moment in which your exploration comes to an end, or the peak in the middle that the rest of your exploration never manages to reach. And that is the conservatory. Because as the rest of the house is decorated, again, it's not clear. The other thing about the old man living here is it strikes you also in the same way of like if you were having to slowly sell all your belongings to pay your bills. Sorry, that's like a very deeply personal memory I have of a family member of mine, which is why it was just coming out and I didn't bother to explain it. But just you can see a house slowly empty over time when someone's medical expenses aren't covered enough, and social security and drug prices and things like that. Anyway, that's going to make me really actually for legitimate sad, so I'm going to move on. The conservatory does not have, or the conservatory has not suffered that treatment. The room is filled with paraphernalia from different parts of the world. Elephant tusks, walrus masks, model boats, weird runic statues. There's the heads of like 20 animals up on the wall. Lion, a tiger. You think that's a polar bear?
Whoa, the jackpot! This is where the treasure is!
Oh yeah,
God,
this looks like
yeah.
a treasure room if I've ever seen one.
Oh yeah.
Ralph, top of your head, tell me what encounter level gives this kind of loot. I know you have it in your table.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no. A fight like this, you're gonna have like some animal spirits because they're angry that they got put on a wall. So I wouldn't say this is like an encounter level of like easily 8 or 9. So we could get a +2 weapon. So
Nice.
cool.
I'm exploring this room.
Oh, explore away. It's like a treasure trove for the child's imagination. I don't know who this person was, like crazy old man hunter or like weird antique gathering guy. Not entirely impossible that he's a cultist.
I am for sure just taking it all in visually, looking at the walls and any shelves or books that there are, any of the furniture. My brain is just taking a Polaroid of this room. I am for sure going to make it a room in a dungeon later.
5-second theory. Who the fuck's house is this? You've gone through, you've explored it, and you're going to speculate. So, like, Michael, you imagine this house. Who owns it? Who is the person who lives here?
I don't know, like some, I like the idea of them being a big game hunter, some old man that's retired from the stuff he's been doing. War hero, for sure. Definitely. He's
Mhm.
seen a couple wars.
And in the way that children do, someone else is going to say, no, he's not a war hero. He's, you're shaking your head.
He's a smuggler, obviously. This is somebody who trades like elephant tusks. Like, obviously, like he's involved in like really shady secret stuff, like the ivory trade and like all of these animal heads. They were probably used to smuggle in things like drugs or like money.
No. This looks more like a Quartermain type. Like this is like a rich guy or a rich lady who probably got a really good education and then became like a gentleman hunter and adventurer. Because I mean, if we're being real for a second, like the amount of money needed to hunt and stuff and maintain these is very expensive. They would have to have means to do that.
I think that it was just someone that had too much money and found someone to buy this stuff off of. They didn't accumulate this themselves.
Well, Thomas is not going to let you all hypothesize by himself. And you hear him muttering, it's very low. Like participating in the conversation, but really only speaking to himself. No, it's like he's a wizard. And he doesn't explain, and I've seen both of you just turn your head, like, what the fuck is he talking about? Which means you're going to have looked at Thomas. And you see him reaching out for a small shelf tucked away in the corner, where there are several shrunken heads. And you can see that Thomas is creeping forward with a certain amount of curiosity. And you can see that the heads are, I don't know that in good condition is the right word for a shrunken head, but they are obviously not plasticky. They're not cloth-like. You wouldn't see this and be like, oh, that is a prop. You would see this, especially if you're 13 years old, and be like, that is a fucking actual human head. And you would see Thomas reach out with his fingers
Thomas,
to-
maybe?
to touch them and to drag his fingertips down the cheek of one and grip it and pick it up and hold it in his hands. And you can't see into Thomas's head and feel his thoughts, imagining what it would be like to see his foster parents this way. And to imagine how much it would hurt or what kind of punishment you could put into someone that would get them into this condition. You can't feel the small shiver of glee that starts in his ankles and works its way up his calves and through his thighs and into the base of his spine, where it spreads out into the whole of him, like wrapping a warm blanket around yourself. But what you do feel is the house shaking with a sudden violence. And what you do hear are the doors being blown open, interior doors, exterior doors, window shutters, as a searing hot flash of a breeze whips through the building. And if you were worried about the ghost truck, let me tell you, the ghost truck is afraid of whatever the fuck this is. And in fact, that's not even a joke your brain can make, because now this is primal child fear. Whatever here is happening is profoundly wrong. And the last memory we have in this flashback is of all five of you, Thomas included, running, terrified, from the home. Running directly to the bikes, screaming to one another, keep up! Jumping on the bikes and pedaling as fast as your tiny legs will carry you, as fast as your tiny hearts can beat to pump your tiny blood into your tiny body. And not stopping until either someone has a heart attack and dies, or you are back in town. And we know that none of you had a heart attack because the scene melts away and you can feel your body growing taller, growing stronger. Certain biological changes as you go through the awkward stages of puberty, as you age up into adulthood, as you start to get the little crow's feet, and maybe your hair's a little thinner where you didn't want it to be. And your jawline hardens and your biceps grow. And you're standing in the modern age, in the middle of the night, in the middle of the rain, outside a familiar mansion. You know whose car it is. You can't prove it, but you know. Thomas Kristofferson is somewhere in this house, and with him, answers. I can't say the answers. We don't know what the questions are. But there are things all of you want to know. There are things none of you understand. And the resolution for that is right on the other side of this door. Well, and a week from now, because that is where we are going to pause our scenario for this evening. I am Aaron, as always. Ooh, that sounded like, I am Aaron. That's not what I was going for, but it's how it ended up. I am Aaron. I am your storyteller for the evening. I am joined, as always, by some of my favorite human beings in the entire universe. Coming to you tonight, performance as Gabrielle, I have
Hi, thank you.
the wonderfully angry Michael, tonight by Zoe.
Have a great night, everyone.
I, honest to God, don't know if it's just like shy or demure or small, but she is Harlow. She is Krissy.
Hi. Yeah. Have a wonderful evening. Cheers.
And PJ, who has struggled to contain Ralph inside of his medium shirt. It is PJ.
Good to see everyone. It's extra medium.
We are going to leave right now and go into our post-game debrief safety check-in. You should also take this moment to just take care of yourself, center whatever feelings you have to have. It's a rough game, but I'm glad you made it through it. Whether or not our characters make it through it is a question we will answer next week, same time, same place. But until then, from us, bye for now.
Bye.